It's Top 580, 1059 KMJ, and without further ado, we welcome in Sheriff Margaret Mims. Hi, Sheriff.
Hey, Chris.
You know, I never asked you this before. I've never asked you this before.
Now what?
Do you ever get tired of driving the speed limit? I'm not going to tell you guys what she drives, but she drives a car that could go as fast as it wants.
It could, but
yeah.
no, I don't want to attract that kind of attention. No.
Does it ever grate on you, though, a little bit? Just, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. I could just, nothing. All right? All right, anyway.
I follow the law, Chris.
We have a lot more important things than that to talk about. Sheriff, I know how busy you are, especially trying to get people, after yesterday, prepared in county offices.
Yes.
That's job one right now, huh?
It sure is. And preparedness anywhere for any circumstance. We talk about this a lot, and it doesn't matter if it's a crime of violence like what happened yesterday or a natural disaster. Are you prepared where you are, where you work, where you live, in that eventuality?
It was funny when I was prepping the show this morning. I was typing the question out, and it is, do you have a plan? Does your business have a plan? And I thought, I've never asked that before. I never heard anybody mention that before. Never heard a business owner say, in these days, because we're just coming off last hour, Sheriff, talking about how I think America as a group consciousness has started to sense that it has changed, that a tall building isn't going to have an airplane hit it again. We've got that covered unless they stretch law enforcement to the point of weakness, but I doubt that's going to happen. That now it's here, there, and everywhere. That the softest of targets are being hit, and we're starting to realize how many soft targets we have and will always have.
Because of the nature of our free nation.
Right. But even in the toughest of nations, even the most totalitarian nations, there are a ton of soft targets. So I hate to say this about America, but we're really soft in this manner.
We're vulnerable, especially in this atmosphere with the radicalization of some of these people where they're being encouraged. You don't need permission. Anywhere, anytime, any way you can commit violence. So, of course, when this happened yesterday, it came to our attention that it was a county office.
Right.
So about a year ago, I had sent out this information to county offices about run, hide, fight, because that's the mantra. Run if you can, hide if you can, fight if you must.
Right.
And we put that out, but we put it out again. But there's no guarantee it's going to happen in a county office somewhere. It could be anywhere.
Church, school, a medical office. It may not be a terrorist attack. It may be just a workplace violence. It might be a domestic dispute. It could happen in many, many forms. But the bottom line is to any business is, are you prepared? What are you going to do if this happens where you are? How many people say they don't know?
A lot.
How many people listening right now just went, wow, I really don't think I know.
Which door are you going to go out of? What are you going to do if that door is blocked? Can you go out a window? If you have to use a weapon, not even a gun. I mean, Look around. What can you use as a weapon? Can you put something heavy in a trash bag and use it to hit somebody with? Those kinds of ideas where you have to be creative sometimes about use what you can where you are.
I've heard that wasp and hornet spray is fantastic because it shoots a long distance.
Well, and
it's like mace.
We started this Seconds to Survive mainly with schools.
Okay.
Because what we're trying to emphasize with this particular program is it takes minutes for law enforcement to get there. So what can you do between the time the violence starts and law enforcement gets there to save as many lives as possible?
And you have preached that for as long as I've known you.
Yes. And
that's part of the reason why you are one of the most generous sheriffs in the state. You are the most generous sheriff in the state, whoops, on CCWs.
Yes.
And stuff like that, that there is Seconds to Survive. There's going to be time there.
There's going to be time. And, of course, when you get into a school situation, you got children.
Right.
And it may not be the teacher. It may be the janitor. It might be the lunch lady that has to think about, what am I going to do to help save lives? And so we've done this presentation. We put this together. It's not just the sheriff's office, but all law enforcement agencies in the county. We put our collective heads together came up with a presentation that we started in schools. We have now gone into businesses to say, think about what you can do. Just look around your environment and think about what you can do before law enforcement gets there. Because we're not going to solve the problem in those few seconds.
Right.
You're going to. And it really, people start thinking, engaging their brains, and pretty soon they start feeling empowered. And part of that is attitude. You know, if you've got a positive attitude, like I can do something positive here, that's powerful.
It's almost like getting your mental metabolism up. You know, when you're out there raking leaves, you think, I can't rake another leaf. And then half an hour later, when the muscles are warmed up, you're doing the whole yard.
That's right.
Kind of thing. It's got to, you know, you guys can't see the studio, and I know a lot of you don't know what it looks like, so I can't really use it as an example, but you kind of got to me on this in that I am very well aware of how many things that don't look like weapons could be used as weapons in my home. I'm also got a lot of different things in a lot of different places. And I'm very well aware of where they are, and I do that. I do a checklist quite often and make sure that Ace occasionally does a checklist too. I have never done it here. I speak into a live microphone, and I make people mad sometimes, and I have never done it here. Look at Philip just figured out how to pull that microphone right out of his stand, man. That would hurt.
Well, and that's the idea, to get those creative juices flowing about, you know, taking a look.
Yeah.
In fact, not only taking a look at how to protect yourselves, but take a look at the building, the environmental design to say, where are we vulnerable?
Right.
You know, and you kind of have to think like the bad guy.
You said something earlier, and this is a tough thing to think about, but I think it would have to be primary. As you start to make that plan, as you think about the Seconds to Survive program, are you thinking about saving your life or saving lives first?
It depends
On the person?
question. If I'm at a school with kids,
You're not the sheriff. You don't have your training.
Those kids are going to take priority.
Even if you're the lunch lady.
Sure.
That's you.
Oh,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
They're going to take priority. Now, if I'm in a room full of cops, I'm
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
they're all I'm going to depend on them to take care of me. Maybe
Yeah,
sometimes.
we're going to stutter walk me out of here.
That's right. That's right. So it really depends, and I think no matter where you go, and frankly, that makes me think of something else, Chris.
Yeah.
So think about your work environment, but also think about your family environment. Think about if you're out Christmas shopping. The answer to that question really depends on where you are and who you're with.
Now, if I've got you right, you're getting in to keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
And that's where we get into tough questions here, because that's the proper way to stay safe and defend your family. And if you're a permit carrier, a permit holder, especially so. But people get fatigued, or they don't want to live in a world where they have to their head's got to be on a swivel when they're enjoying their kid picking out the wrong tree. What do you say to that when they say, I get tired, I don't want to?
You need to be aware of where you are. And I'm not talking about being paranoid about it.
No, nor am I.
But all I can do is really kind of relate it to my law enforcement experience. One of the things you first start doing is saying, okay, if I get a call of a robbery at that business right there, how am I going to approach it? If I walk into this store right now and something is happening, what am I going to do? Pretty soon it's second nature.
Right.
It's not something that wears you down. It's just second nature.
Well, let's take that part then. Share that with us if you can a little bit. You are with your family in a store maybe you've been in twice in your life. You know, you don't really know this place. That's the same thing that you guys encounter in law enforcement every day. I mean, you can't possibly know the layout of every store, so you're thinking about what you think might be there. What are the first couple things? Say it's mom and dad and two kids. What's the first thing that dad should be thinking about if he's in a relatively strange environment and something starts happening?
You're going to take care of your kids. I mean, absolutely. You're going to buy
getting them low.
Let's say a grocery store.
Okay.
Are they in a cart where you can head to the back? You don't have to go out front doors. You can go out a back door.
And the cart can move things out of the way. Yeah.
Get behind something. The meat counter, right? Just those kinds of things. Look around. We call it cover and concealment. And there's a difference. Cover doesn't mean concealment, but cover may mean you're blocking bullets
right
from where you are. So I think that's what you just look around. It could be anything. What if you see something that looks suspicious? And I think we need to talk about that. People these days are so paranoid of being politically correct. I don't want to be accused of being a racist.
It happened yesterday.
It happened just. If you see something, say something. It's more important now than ever.
490-5858. Sheriff Mims is here. You're more than welcome to call. Again, 490-5858. Quick break, and we're back. Sheriff Mims is here, and yep, she heard that.
I have some questions for Philip.
How you doing, man? Do you know how much I love you?
I taste metal.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. All right. News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. Sheriff Margaret Mims is here. We're talking specifically about the Seconds to Survive program, which a beautiful presentation I'm looking at here, coming off of what happened in San Bernardino yesterday and in an ancillary way, Redlands. And the sheriff's been very busy because Central Valley Regional Center worked closely with Atlanta. So did Kern County's center. They closed today. Are they going to stay closed past today?
I don't think so.
But you have been scrambling for quite a while now to get county offices up to speed on this program, because it seems like we really think a lot harder about our private residents and and protecting ourselves that way. When it comes to our business, we don't know how or where to go or how to defend ourselves.
This morning I sent the video out to all county offices and it offered, if you want more, call me.
Right.
But all department heads got a little 5-minute video, the Run, Hide, Fight video.
Right.
That really gives you some good ideas. It raises your awareness, makes you think about what you could do if it happens where you are. But I think the main thing is to send the message that, we're aware of this. If you need us, we're here to help, but empower you to know that there's something you might be able to do should something like this happen.
And what I'm looking at is certainly more than a 5-minute presentation. This is beautifully presented, complete with thumb drive and everything else here. So let's get to it. You guys have been waiting. 490-5858. Shane is first. Hi, Shane.
Hi, how you doing?
You're on with Sheriff Mims.
Thanks for the information, Sheriff. My question would be, I'm a security director for a large company here in the Valley, and I've given a presentation on Run, Hide, Fight that I saw through the Houston's Mayor Office and the Department of Homeland Security. I guess my question about your particular program is it available to the public? Is it something that I can use for my company?
You bet it is.
Okay, great.
You bet it is. Are you in Fresno County by any chance?
I'm in Merced County, actually.
Okay. I can certainly get this information to Sheriff Warnke, and he can share it with whoever he wants to up there. And if you want to give my office a call, we can share it with you.
Okay, great.
It comes along with what we really like to do is show the presentation to people who then can go out and show the presentation.
Right.
Because there's a lot of demand out there, and we can't do it all. And so what I'm thinking, just based on your question, too, is maybe we need to have some kind of public presentation that then we can pass on to make sure that the right stuff is getting taught. You don't want people out there to show them complicated self-defense moves or anything like that.
No,
this
it's those
simple.
first few seconds to survive, right?
That's right.
Your wheels are turning. I'm going to see smoke coming out of your headphones.
I'm thinking here.
What you need is an Amway double diamond. Somebody can tell you how to just extrapolate that out to lots of presentations. This is if we succeed in what we're trying to do here, you're going to need that kind of help.
Yeah,
people passing it to other people.
One of the things you'll notice in that packet, Chris, is every single law enforcement agency's badge is represented. This was a cooperative effort. All the small town chiefs, all the large city chiefs received this packet so they can go out and use it and go to wherever they need to in their community to show this presentation. Mendota Police Department has shown it. Kingsburg Police Department has done it. Fowler Police Department, mainly in their schools.
Right.
And it's important to show it in a school because sometimes school faculty and employees move around. And so no matter where they go, they're going to see the same presentation. They'll go, oh, okay, I know what to do. I have seen this before.
Okay.
And so consistency is important.
Do you need anything else from Shane on or off air to help out on this?
Yeah, Philip could get his telephone number.
Shane, hang on. Don't hang up, okay?
All right.
All right, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Let's go next to Bob in Clovis. Bob, what's up? You're on with Sheriff Mims.
Yeah, hey, I just want to say thanks, and thanks to Sheriff Mims about her stance regarding CCW permits in
No, you
Fresno
bet.
County. One question I had is a frustration for me is as a parent of kids that go to 4 different schools in Clovis.
Wow.
I'm on my school grounds 4 or 5 times a day, and I would really hate to have to deal with the issue of someone coming on the school grounds and me as a permit carrier not being able to intervene or help the kids at all because my permit will not allow me to carry on school grounds. So my question is there any kind of progress or any kind of process where a person maybe could even do some additional training to be cleared to be able to do that? I mean, I think that's a huge resource because we've got, parents that, do have CCW permits that have already been cleared and trained at least to some extent.
I get that question asked a lot, and the only way it could happen is if the administrator on the school ground approved it.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's actually quite more simpler than I thought you were going to.
If they said it's okay with me that CCW holders carry on this school campus, that would be okay.
Okay.
I don't know of any that would do that, but maybe you can find one.
Well,
I have talked to at least one principal, and they would be open to it. The problem is that in Clovis, I talked to the police department, and they won't recognize that. I mean, as a matter of fact, if I'm in danger of losing my permit if I'm caught carrying on school grounds. So, I mean, even because I had talked to the principal about it already, if that was cleared with the administrator or the superintendent of schools in that district, the next step would be clearing it with the local precinct. And they just out and out said, no, only police can carry.
Well, it is what it is at this point, when it comes to laws and what people will allow. And it boils down to, if you can't carry your firearm, what else can you do? What can you deal with what you got?
It splits out into another problem, too, that I'm sure that Bob has thought about. It came up last week. It also came up in a story last week from an NBC Bay Area investigation. They lost over 500 weapons in the Bay Area. 8 different agencies, a whole bunch of stuff since 2010. Not just law enforcement, who obviously have weapons in their cars, but talking to a lot of CCW holders, they're saying, we're being called on by people like Donald Trump to carry more if we're permitted, but I don't want to leave my weapon in a locked car. What's your answer to that? Because that's a tough call.
The only place that weapon is going to do you any good is if you're carrying it.
Right.
That's the bottom line. If you're going onto a school campus that doesn't allow you to carry it,
you can't.
You can't. Being realistic about it.
Have you heard anything at all? Philip, what was that about the lockbox in the car? Was somebody actually create that, or was
that was something that was coming out of an assemblyman from San Francisco who had suggested that it be made mandatory for people who carry fire, CCW holders, to have a safe of some sort, a lockbox of some sort, mounted in the vehicle so that guns can't be stolen by somebody with a screwdriver. And
have you heard of that product in civilian sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, really?
I'm not a fan of creating regulation to require it. However, even for law enforcement vehicles, we have systems in place where we can secure our weapons in either the bed of a pickup truck with a cover or the trunk of a car. There are manufacturers that make those kinds of items that you can purchase.
News Talk 580, 105.9, KMJ, Chris Daniel, Philip Teresi, and Sheriff Margaret Mims here with us for a little bit longer. 490-5850. It's a line if you want to talk to her. But coming off yesterday's horrific incident in San Bernadino, specifically at the Inland Regional Center, if that was your place of work, what would you have done to preserve yourself or maybe others as well? Would you know what to do? A lot of us know what to do at home. Not a lot of us know what to do at work. If you're listening at work right now, are you looking around at stuff going, you know what, never thought about that, but I could clock a guy pretty good with that. Do you know where to dive and hide? All of that. There is a program, and the county offices have all gotten it from Sheriff Mims and the Fresno County Sheriff's Office. It's called Seconds to Survive. The primary principle is what you've been preaching forever, that the minute a bad guy shows up is not the minute the cop shows up, that there's going to be downtime, and you've got to know what to do. It's a pretty cool program. We're talking about it and looking for your questions as well. Diana Alford, Sheriff, asks on Twitter at Chris Daniel Show, is Sheriff Mims' video on YouTube where we might have access? How do I look it up?
Great question. The Run, Hide, Fight video is on our website. Go to fresnosheriff.org, fresnosheriff.org. Scroll down to the icon that says Run, Hide, Fight, and it takes you right to the video.
Any chance that this video goes up too? Is there a video on this? I'm sorry.
There's no video.
No, this is a full presentation.
Yeah, that's a full presentation.
That's a full presentation. Okay, very good. I got to ask, one of the funniest things you've ever said to me is that the most misspelled word in the sheriff's department is sheriff. So
1 R 2 S.
Right, but what I had to do, did you also do the misspelling website URL? Did you just go ahead and get that one too, just so people can get a hold of you if they don't know how to spell sheriff? I had to do it with me because everybody puts an S on the end of my name, so I finally I got Chris Daniels as well at blah blah blah.com.
Oh no, we didn't get the misspelled website.
All right, very
Nope.
well. All right, yeah, they'd probably come after you on that anyway. Let's go back to phones, and it's Sergio next, 490-5858. Hi, Sergio.
Yeah, hi, Chris. When I was younger, I got into some trouble, so now I can't purchase a firearm. So my question for the sheriff was, what can I carry? Can I carry mace? Am I allowed to buy mace, or is there anything you recommend? At home, since I can't have a firearm.
Yes, you can get pepper spray. That's a natural product. It's not a chemical like mace.
Right.
You can get pepper spray, and you can get those at sporting goods stores. And you're kind of in the situation that you're in. You can take a look around. I've had people that have used golf clubs as
Right.
a weapon. Just about anything can be.
Yeah, and I had a second part to the question. Can my wife legally buy a gun and keep it in the house? Well, can she buy a gun, or can she not because I'm not allowed to have a firearm?
Yeah, it depends. Without getting into too much detail about your personal history, it's going to depend on, for instance, are you currently on probation, on parole, those kinds of things? Definitely not if you are. But I would, this might be a better conversation off the air. And again, I will be happy to call you back if Philip would get your telephone number, and I'd ask you all those particulars.
Thank you, ma'am. I
bet.
appreciate that.
Sergio, I got a lot of calls, so I'm going to put you on hold, and Philip will get your number. We will not give it out, of course. And so don't hang up. Thanks a lot, Serge. All right. Next up in Fresno. Hi, Dee.
Hi. Thank you for this opportunity, and this is just an honor. I have two parts here. Sheriff Mims, we want to thank you and all the police here in the Fresno Valley for protecting us and our well-being each and every day. You are all a blessing to us, which makes us feel safe. And thank you to Chris and Philip. You're doing a great job of reporting.
Thank you.
My question is, Sheriff, what are your thoughts to have all the signs that say gun-free zone removed throughout the state of California and put up Pelco cameras instead at the front and back exits of these buildings?
Circle the bases, Dee. Best question of the day.
That is good. I always will promote personal responsibility on whether or not you decide to put up cameras. There's a lot of discussion in law enforcement about where we should be putting security cameras for law enforcement purposes. Mm-hmm. And it really, it kind of grates on me to think about government overreach and government being able to look in places that maybe they shouldn't be looking. And I think voluntary programs are great. A business who puts in their own camera system, your home, that's getting more and more affordable to get cameras now in your home. We've solved crimes because there were cameras that homeowners or businesses.
We're in the process
I
right
think
now.
it's a great idea. I think voluntary is always best. I don't want to be the government entity that is
It's a tough thing.
It is.
It's funny you said that because yesterday, I know I went through it on air, and a couple of other callers as well about changing minds a little bit, or our own minds a little bit on the militarization of local law enforcement. Well, if they didn't have those vehicles, including
those Bearcats,
we call it the Popo Mobile, but and all of that, if they didn't have that. That situation could have escalated, probably would have escalated. They might have even gotten away.
When I saw that, because I was paying attention to what was going on, I was watching Fox News when this was happening, and I'm saying there is a great example of the reason why we need that kind of equipment. And how could anybody argue against it when they watch that? Now, they should not be patrolling our neighborhoods for routine purposes, but when we need it, and we better have it.
Yeah, I started to get worried for the same reasons you expressed on government insisting on having cameras, and yesterday watching how well Ellie responded yesterday, and every agency apparently. I'm kind of glad they had it.
I'm glad too, and Dee, thanks for the question. Voluntary cameras, I'm all for. I think they're getting more and more affordable. They're a great idea. It's kind of like a supplement to an alarm system. If you've got the cameras. That's a great idea. And thank you for your kind words. I want to mention something, Chris, because we had this discussion because she was kind of going on about you and the law enforcement. And I want you to know, Dee, and all the listeners out there, we don't take those kinds of comments lightly. And my feeling is we have to be worthy of that. We have to earn it. We don't deserve it just because of who we are. We have to earn it every single day. And it's sobering when people say that because it reminds me that I have a responsibility and I have to be worthy. And so I want you to know that I thank you very much for your kind words, and I work very, very hard to be worthy.
I would add on to that, while I firmly believe my job is about 100 times less important than yours for our community, it feels really good, but you do feel the weight.
No, sure
you feel the weight, and
but
it's
it's
okay. No, it's not a bad weight.
I asked for this job, so I'm not complaining. But thank you, Dee.
I begged for mine, which is better, begging or having to run for election. Sorry, in Merced, Randy, what's up?
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Sheriff, I want to thank you and all your deputies for everything you guys do. Like the Dee said, you guys are in our heart and prayers. You do a great job, so thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
It's great. It's a great topic. I just picked up a Smith & Wesson Shield 2 days ago, so I'm getting ready to do my CCW. But my question is about Obama, what he said last night, that people can go in and get denied from getting a ticket for an airplane, but yet they pass to get a permit for a gun. How accurate is that? I mean, I had to go through the 10-day waiting period and, all this that goes through there. So I'm just kind of worried about his, words that he chose to say.
Well, I would also add to that, I think he obfuscates a little bit in that he's comparing completely different agencies in the decisions that they make on stuff like that.
That's right. And the live scan system that when you apply for a CCW, your fingerprints are checked. That's monitored, and so if there is somebody that is a potential terrorist, now my hope is that after 9/11, I hope we learned this lesson between federal agencies, that we would get a phone call from a federal agency with a heads up, because it did get better after 9/11, that federal agencies talked better and more with local agencies.
With the possible exception of the NSA.
True.
Yeah. All right, good. 490-5858. Let me see here. Hey, that's a good question. Jeff, what's up? You're on with Sheriff Mims.
Hi. Don't sell yourself short, Chris. Your job is just as important as bringing the community together. But
I disagree, but thank you.
I have a question about, this is going to sound really funny. I don't think I'm a convicted felon, but I was charged with a felony a long time ago. How do I find out if I'm even eligible to purchase a firearm before going in there to get rejected?
You can contact DOJ and ask for your criminal history.
Okay.
So
Really?
if you call California State Department of Justice, the Attorney General's office, you can request that so that you can check to see if you are on record as being a prohibited person. And remember, sometimes their database is wrong. So you have to double check the information that they have if you do find out you may be prohibited.
How would one double
Okay.
check?
You have to actually go back to the court records and
Okay.
take a look at the minute orders.
Okay. But it's possible.
Absolutely.
All right. 490-5858 is our number. 354 News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. Chris Daniel here with Sheriff Mims. Seconds to Survive is the program the sheriff has been handing to all officials throughout the county, not just the regional center here in Central Valley or in Kern. Well, you wouldn't do Kern, but folks who want to get a hold of this, Sheriff, can you tell them again how they can get this Seconds to Survive for their own businesses?
Sure. They can call my office.
Mm-hmm.
Call 559-600-8800. We'll get you to the right place. If you're in one of the cities in Fresno County, we will refer you to your law enforcement agency because they have this information
Right.
and can do the presentation. So, but we'll take care of that. If you call my office, which reminds me, when I leave here, I'll have to call my office and say, get ready for phone calls. But we will refer you to the place that can help you out.
And the reason that we gave out the website before was, I'm sorry,
It was for the video Run, Hide, Fight.
which is the progenitor of the Seconds to Survive
Yes.
program. Okay, so that Run, Hide, Fight came first, and now the sheriff has built this up into Seconds to Survive. The sucker went right out of my head. Sorry, Sheriff. Breaking Galt tweets, the first mass shooter in my office will get a very sharp number 2 pencil launched into their jugular. That is the best-looking pencil sharpener I've ever seen.
That works.
Eric says, now Eric lives in Oregon now, he says, we have to go through active shooter training every 6 months at the casino. Pretty good information. # Run, Hide, or Fight.
That's very good.
Okay.
I mean, that's great.
490-5858. Kevin, retired deputy. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. We're a
Good
little,
afternoon, Sheriff.
little short on time, Kev, so let's get to it, okay?
Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Sheriff, I have a question for you, ma'am. First of all, you're doing an outstanding job.
Thanks.
And my concern is this. You're one of 58 sheriffs. And it doesn't seem to me that they're all necessarily on the same page that you are on. Can we anticipate some sort of change here, hopefully, considering our current circumstances?
Well, it depends on the constituency of that particular county. It's not the same in the coastal counties as it is here in the Central Valley. They're elected by the people. And so, Kevin, I don't know that the Bay Area or those coastal counties will change attitudes about. I imagine what you're talking about is our Second Amendment rights and the ability to.
Well, not only that, ma'am, but just the idea of fighting. It just seems so simple to me, so clear. I mean, the alternative is being forced into a corner of a room and slaughtered.
Yeah.
But there are people, and we had this story yesterday, Kevin, who they say the same thing. It is so clear to me that gun-free zones repel guns. And you know, my only point is that there's people out there who are saying the same thing you are from the complete other side, and I don't know how to talk to them because we need to talk to them.
Yeah, I'm just concerned. Because we're all our own first responders.
That's the whole purpose.
Message one.
That's message one for Seconds to Survive. You are the first responder. Don't depend on law enforcement during those first few seconds because we won't be there. So Kevin, continue to be the ambassador for us. I know you did a great job as a deputy sheriff. I miss you. Give me a call sometimes.
All right, Kev, I got to let you go. Sheriff, I'm going to take Brett's question without taking Brett's call because we're running short on time here. But he's asking, when will the sheriff's range reopen to the general public? When, if, I guess.
Yeah. We're trying to come up with a fee schedule. You know, the Sheriff's Foundation for Public Safety now owns that range. So we're coming up with a fee schedule. They're even taking a look at seeing if there might be a private vendor that wants to run that part of the range since it's a nonprofit, not really a county facility. So stand by for more news on that, but they're researching it.
And I remember what I forgot with the Seconds to Survive package for businesses. Again, call the sheriff's office at 600-8800, 600-8800. But you had mentioned you need to extrapolate this out. You want to get to the point where people are passing this on to other people. Are we ready for that yet? And can people ask for 10 of them, or you know where I'm trying to get on this? Are we ready to pyramid this thing out yet?
No, probably not for the general public to be training it. We're definitely prepared for law enforcement. We can train the trainer,
right?
Because I don't want the message to get politicized or.
I guess somebody could try.
Somebody could try to do that with it, or to sell their own product. You know, say I got this from Sheriff Mims and insert an advertisement in it. We want to be careful of that.
Of course you do.
So.
Okay, I got it. And when it builds up, you'll tell me, and we'll tell people where to do it.
Okay.
Sheriff, thanks a lot.
Thank
Good
you,
to
Chris.
see you.